What is up, my fellow Chibits? Hopefully all of you are having a very good day today, because today is a new episode of Welcome to the Ballroom. Episode 14, if I am correct. Okay, so this episode, I really like Chinatsu. I'm enjoying her character. I know I said it last week, but I'm really liking her character now. She's so cute, and the fire she has, how she's just willing to press forward, it's nice. I mean, she has a lot to work on, and so does Tatara, but overall, I love her fire, her attitude. I don't know, just something about it, I really love it. So, anyways, let's talk about the new character introduction. The girl, I think her name is Akira. I could be misremembering her name. It might not be that, but you know, the blonde-haired girl that was introduced in this episode, I thought she was going to be a sweet girl, especially with how she was introduced and, you know, when Tatara was talking to her and all that. I figured she was going to be a very sweet person. She's going to be a kind, sweet girl and all that because, you know, I'm used to seeing stuff like that. Characters that look like her, she usually is a very sweet girl. I mean, after looking at Mako and all that, and after already having, like, a fiery character like Chinatsu, you would assume that we'd have another sweet girl. But that was definitely not the case. Just downright, the character is nasty. Like, Chinatsu and her are just so nasty to each other. And I was like, oh my, they're really mean. Like, they're really mean to each other. Like, the way they were just going at each other and, like, basically spitting at each other and, you know, saying, like, oh, you know, I'm gonna beat you or whatever, or just talking about their past, or, you know, how they were ex-partners and stuff. Just the way all of that was done, I'm like, this is so nasty. It's just like, why is so many characters in the second half of Welcome to the Ballroom just so mean? Because, I mean, when you go back to the first half of Welcome to the Ballroom, there's so many kind characters that are sweet and all that. Just thinking about Mako pops up in my head. Just so sweet. So many sweet characters. And then you see something like this in the second half, I'm like, there's just so many mean people. Like, why is there so many aggressive and mean people in this second half? I mean, it's great. Just, like, the character, just my image of her shattered in that moment when she just started being very nasty to Chinatsu. I'm like, okay, this isn't the character I expected whatsoever. It was definitely something that surprised me completely. So, let's talk about what Chinatsu has to work on, and also Tatara. Now, it's already a given that Tatara is not a good dancer. Like, he's a novice, and it's obvious why. He just started very recently, for like a couple months now, so he's not necessarily like grade A quality. But he has been trying to improve overall, and he finally has a partner, which is finally established in this episode. He went to register his partnership with Chinatsu, and now they are official couples. They're partners now when it comes to competitive dance. So this is a good thing. Now there's a major step forward here where, you know, Tatara, he now has someone he has partnered with. So he doesn't have to worry about looking for a partner. He can now focus on trying to train with her, and then getting better with, you know, dancing with her as well, and then figuring out what he can do with like certain dance moves and stuff. So basically this is a great step. It's progression. But Tatara still, there is a problem with him, but also a problem with Chinatsu. She is someone, as I already said, she is a perfect blend. She is someone that is Tatara's other half, okay? Like, for instance, Tatara's like 50%, he's always been missing something, okay? And when Chinatsu came in, she was like that other half of him that he needed, that fire. And I talked about this in length in my last video, but basically, it's kind of like, you know, how a couple is, a married couple. When two people come together, they could be kind of different, they have their own weaknesses or flaws, and when they finally come together and become one as a couple, they kind of make up for each other's flaws, and then they better themselves. That's basically what, you know, the concept of marriage is, or some symbolic meaning of it. And so in this case, when these two, you know, basically became a couple, that would mean that they technically, in essence, they married, in which they will start to make up for each other's flaws, and it's like they now have become one. And so Chinatsu and, you know, Tatara, they each have their own little weaknesses when it comes to their personality. When they're working together, it's like they're a whole person now. Still, even with, you know, them being very compatible in a way, even though they're complete opposites, the point is that there's a lot they need to learn. Tatara needs to learn how to be a better lead. He needs to learn how to be a little bit more aggressive. While you have someone like Chinatsu, she needs to know when to tone down the fire in her a little bit. And that's kind of what's going on here. I feel like the reason why these two are a perfect match is not just the fact that they're opposite, but it's the fact that since they are so much of an opposite of each other, that they'll teach each other how to be like each other. For instance, Tatara will teach Chinatsu how to be like him, and Chinatsu will teach Tatara how to be like her. So it'll be kind of like a back and forth. They'll both learn from from each other, which makes a lot of sense. Married couples do that, couples and all that, they do that, they learn from each other, and that's what I think is probably going to have to happen for these two to become better dancers, because it is established in this episode that one of the big problems here, even though it's amazing to see Tatara, showcasing one of his traits, his talents, by paying attention and figuring out how to be aware of what someone's doing or how they're moving, and that's how he's able to keep up with, Chinatsu, it's also a fatal weakness, because he has not been taught properly as a dancer. Sengoku, he may be a great dancer and all that, but he clearly hasn't been teaching Tatara properly at all, or at least giving him the proper ways to learn, because he's only been paying attention from a distance or shadowing, so he really hasn't learned properly as a dancer. He's been trying to mimic their moves, and so he's not like, how he should be at his time. Even though he's doing novice stuff, he should be way above where he's at right now, even though, he's only been doing a couple months. He should be above his level, but he hasn't been because of the way he's been taught. And so with what's going on now, it's obviously has a weakness and a flaw because of his teaching, his training, what he's been doing. It just hasn't been taught to him properly. And then, you have this stuff going on with, Chinatsu. She is someone that's very aggressive and all that, and she will not listen to anyone. She will not let anyone lead her because she was always the lead, and so she expects to lead, in which in turn she's a very bad follower. And the best way to kind of summarize this episode, okay, is that you have a lead that is not a good leader, and then you have a follow that is not a good follower, and that's basically what, this episode is summarized as. That's the perfect way to kind of, summarize this episode, is that one sentence alone. It's because these two, they basically fell at what role they should actually have to do. Now, as I already said, I would really love it if Tatara played the follow, and then, Chinatsu played the lead. I don't know if, competitive dance would actually allow that. I mean, I have no idea, but the big thing is, though, is what I think is going to happen with these two, is that, like I said, they're going to learn from each other. They're going to learn how to be like each other in some ways, but I feel like their dance is probably going to be very unique. They're probably going to be able to swap back and forth. For instance, Chinatsu might lead sometimes, and then Tatara is going to lead sometimes, and they're probably going to be able to swap back and forth in the middle of the dance. That's what makes me feel like is going to happen with this series. They're going to be able to swap back and forth with the lead or the follow, and I feel like that'd be a really good way to make them very unique and stand out amongst the entirety of the cast when it comes to their dancing. So, yeah, overall, the latest episode of Welcome to the Ballroom, I think was a great episode. There's a lot of good details in here and setup for the characters and, their pair as well. And so I can't wait to see what's going to happen next. I'm really glad that once again they did not get in first, because it would have been a little bit messed up if they managed to get in first place that easy. Even though they're in the novice competition, it would have been messed up to see them get into first because of just how Tatara is and how, Chinatsu is. I don't think they necessarily deserve first place. So seeing them get second once again makes me very happy. So they have actually a lot to work on. So anyways, let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about this episode? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you like my content, please subscribe. And if you want to support me for I can continue to focus on YouTube, please go in the description and support me on Patreon. It helps me out a lot. And so I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.